Strong families, better societies. A New Zealand 2008 Islamic Awareness Week launch report. Dr. Mustafa Farouk, FIAN's first Vice President and Dava Coordinator.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin.
The mission of Islam Awareness Week is to increase awareness in New Zealand of Islam and Muslim New Zealanders. Islam has been in New Zealand since 1874, and Islam Awareness Week has been observed for many of these years at Islamic centres and on campuses around New Zealand. The weeks were then locally organised by the various centres and student bodies with no central coordination. In 2004, FIANS made the week a yearly national event, coordinated to happen in the same week throughout the country. During the week, all the mosques and Islamic centres affiliated to FIANS are open to the New Zealand public, and various activities are held under themes that differ yearly.
I think Islam Awareness Week is an amazing initiative. For a start, it's very unusual for us as a Muslim community to be this organised. You know, for us to be able to undertake something on a national level has been fabulous. It's also really enabled us to pool resources. But it's interesting that you talk about building bridges and closing the gaps, because one of the things that Islam Awareness Week has really brought to the fore is that the gap really isn't so wide. You know, one of the first things that happened when we opened our mosque to the general public in Wellington, we were amazed at how many people came to us and said, we were just waiting for you to ask us to come in. You know, we've driven past here so many times, we've seen it as a feature of the community, yet there was never an avenue for us to approach you and ask what you do here, what type of community are you? So Islam Awareness Week in that sense has been a bringing together of the general public and our community. I guess the way forward now is to make it more of a deeper understanding. I mean, we appreciate the fact that people are going to approach us, ask us difficult questions. We appreciate the fact that people are going to come and sample our food, listen to our poetry, look at our clothing. It's an opportunity for us to show them that beyond the media images of Islam, there is a very beautiful Islamic civilization and culture that it inspires over 1.7 billion people around the globe. It is much more than the face of terrorism that you might see on the news at 6 o'clock at night.
This year's Islam Awareness Week was observed from the 4th to the 11th of August 2008. The theme of the week was Strong Families, Better Societies. The week was launched at the Wellington Islamic Centre by His Excellency the Governor-General of New Zealand, the Honourable Anand Satyanand.
It has been a great pleasure to open the Islam Awareness Week event here in Wellington. I know that there are similar events being undertaken at mosques throughout New Zealand. The idea which New Zealand promotes of diversity and understanding each other's cultures is represented very much by this week. It is one thing to be together with one's own group and one's own religious practices, but it is also a fine thing to be encouraged to share that with others. And our country is one that is increasing in its cultural and religious diversity.
This is a fantastic occasion. I think it's great to see the Islamic community opening its hearts and its doors to the people of New Zealand to tell people about Islam, to deal with their concerns and their fears and their questions, but to show the compassionate, the caring and the positive side of Islam. So I think it's a wonderful initiative, and I congratulate the Federation on this year, and wish it every success.
I'm really pleased to be here this morning. It's been an extraordinary event. It opens up not only the celebration of the week, but it also opens up the mind for greater participation and understanding. And understanding and communication is what it's all about in today's society. Whether it be in New Zealand, or whether it be in Canada, United States, it doesn't make any difference. People have to understand people, and this is one great step making that possible.
Islam Awareness Week has done marvelously well over the years. When we realized after 9/11 that people had become very becoming conscious about Islam, and then they were getting very negative sort of information from elsewhere, that we felt that there was a need for us to educate the members of the public what Islam is and what Muslims stand for, not what they hear in the media, they read in the papers and they see in television. And so over the last 3, 4, 5 years, with this mosque open days, with other things, articles coming out very positively in papers, people have become more knowledgeable about Islam and Muslims. And these days you do not hear those kinds of comments which you would hear about 4 or 5 years ago.
It's important that people should be asking and interacting with the Muslim community about the issues of concern, issues of mutual understanding, and particularly you want people to ask any hard questions that they think important, that they should know about Islam, they should know about Islamic community here in New Zealand, of whom there are about 40,000 Muslims in New Zealand. So it's a fair chunk of our people are now profess Islam, and I think it's important that we should be asking all pertinent questions about Muslims in New Zealand, and also get to know more about Islam, because by knowing better, understanding each other, we can create peace and harmony in the society.
Islam Awareness Week is one event where we share with the wider community the knowledge about Islam, and also about the Muslims, the Kiwi Muslims, their way of life, and what are we all about. And since 2004, it has been a main event, and we have made it a point that it will be one of the main events in the calendar of FIANS.
I think Islam Awareness Week is extremely important because it's about bridge building with other communities, and I think in this time where diversity has become such an important matter, it's very important that communities engage in intercultural and interfaith dialogue. So I'm very, very supportive of this initiative indeed.
We still have to work very hard, because we cannot take for granted the racial tolerance or the racial intolerance, if I may, which is very important for a country like New Zealand, where the population is multiracial oriented country. So it is imperative, it is important that community leaders like us, we should make sure that we are vigilant against any racial tensions which might be arising and disturb the harmony among the various community in New Zealand. So I believe events like this is important for us to showcase the beauty of Islam and the softness of Islam and its followers.
So yes, it has done marvelously well, and we want to make this an annual affair for many years to come, and we hope that as we go along, there will be more information coming to the members of the public, and as a result of that, they will get more educated, more knowledgeable about our religion, about our people, about Muslims, and I think that will be good for everybody.
I would say that the present government, the government of the day, today especially, they have given us 110% support with regard to events like this, to build the strong relationship, to build bridges against the wider communities of New Zealand. And I hope that successive governments will also do this.
The event was attended by New Zealand ministers, members of Parliament, central and local government officials, members of the diplomatic corps from many countries including Malaysia, Indonesia, Pakistan, Iran, Singapore, USA, Britain and Russia, 3 visiting scholars from Saudi Arabia and members of the community at large. The launching ceremony started with the recitation of verses from the Quran pertinent to the theme of family by Sheikh Abdul Jabbar, Imam, Parador Islamic Centre, followed by a translation of the recited verses by Sister Rayhana Ali, representative of the Islamic Women's Council of New Zealand.
ألم تر إلى ربك كيف مد الظل ولو شاء لجعله ساكنا.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Are you not aware of your sustainer through his works? How he causes the shadow to lengthen towards the night, when had he so willed, he could indeed have made it stand still. But then we have made the sun its guide. And then we draw it on towards ourselves with a gradual contraction.
I personally was educated and remain a Catholic. Our household, and those of my parents and those of Susan's parents, are and were places where people of many different outlooks were welcomed and accepted. We continue to have many friends of many faiths, as well as those who do not profess a faith. With such a background and being a New Zealander of Fiji Indian descent, I believe that this diversity has the ability to enrich our society, culture and economy.
The Governor-General of New Zealand, Anyad Satyanand, in his speech affirmed the importance of Islam Awareness Week and other initiatives aimed at improving religious understanding. He said the religious demography in New Zealand has changed, with a diverse group of beliefs now found in the country. This diversity has the ability to enrich the society, but also poses some challenges. He mentioned the controversies that surrounded the museum exhibit involving the Virgin in a condom, the wearing of burqa in court, the desecration of Jewish headstones, and the publication of the Prophet cartoons as examples of the challenges inherent in New Zealand's growing cultural, ethnic and religious diversity. The Governor-General called on New Zealanders to try and really understand, not merely tolerate one another. According to him, tolerance is largely passive in nature, and the opportunity for real understanding rarely occurs. Real understanding requires interaction, meeting, talking and socializing with others who are different from us.
The Federation's decision to establish the Harmony Awards, to recognise the contribution of New Zealanders in improving understanding and relationships between Muslims and the wider community, is also another welcome move.
It also means getting to know people as individuals in their own right and not as automatons whose behaviour may be dictated by cultural or religious imperatives. He said events like Islam Awareness Week are important steps in breaking down the barriers between people of different cultures and religions, and encouraging interaction by people at the community and neighbourhood level. He cited the speech of Governor Hobson at the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi to underscore the fact that a sound basis for religious understanding has been established in New Zealand, a basis that New Zealanders must continue to build upon.
Maori custom indicates that even as this nation was founded 168 years ago, a sound basis for religious understanding was established. It is a basis that New Zealanders must continue to build upon. And it is therefore, ladies and gentlemen, with great pleasure that I officially open this year's Islamic Awareness Week.
This is the 5th year that the Federation is hosting the Islam Awareness Week, and FIAZ is a partner in the Diversity Action Program led by the Human Rights Commission. And the Islam Awareness Week represents a major event in its ongoing contribution.
The president of FIANZ, Javed Khan, spoke of FIANZ's partnership in the Diversity Action Program led by the Human Rights Commission, and informed the guests that Islam Awareness Week represents a major event in that program. Javed said, Islam Awareness Week provides an opportunity for the members of the wider New Zealand community to learn and appreciate the beliefs, values and practices of Muslim New Zealanders and how these contribute to greater understanding and social cohesion. The theme, Strong Families, Better Society, was chosen according to the FIANZ president because he said a strong family will raise its members to be strong people in their faith, work ethics and relationship with the wider society.
Islam Awareness Week provides an opportunity for the members of the wider New Zealand community to learn and appreciate the beliefs, values and practices of Muslim New Zealanders and how these contribute to better understanding of Islam and Muslims.
This Wednesday on the 6th in the Parliament, Minister Chris Carter and I, we will be having the Islam Awareness event there as well. So we are inviting all the children from all the schools in the Wellington area. So on Wednesday at midday, I think 11:30, 12 o'clock, we're going to be doing that in the Parliament.
Dr. Mustafa Farouk, FIANZ Vice President and Dava Coordinator, spoke on the significance of Islam Awareness Week.
This in turn has led to the heightened Islamophobia we see today around the world. Thank God in New Zealand, I can stand here and say we have been saved from that so far. This in turn has led to the heightened Islamophobia we see today around the world, characterized by prejudice, suspicion, discrimination, racism, or even violence towards Muslims. Islam Awareness Week helps educate the public about the true teachings of Islam in the hope that the knowledge will reduce these misconceptions that are mostly perpetuated by ignorance.
Dr. Farouk said pre-September 11, 2001, the activities during Islam Awareness Week were centred mainly around promoting the understanding of Islam and in doing dawah or outreach to non-Muslims. But post-September 11, 2001, Islam Awareness Week activities in New Zealand expanded its goals to include the following. 1. Removing the misconceptions surrounding Islam and Muslims. Muslims are portrayed as terrorists, fanatics, intolerant oppressors of women and parasites to the society by the media and reckless politicians. Islam Awareness Week helps educate the public about the true teachings of Islam in the hope that the knowledge will reduce these misconceptions which are mostly perpetuated by ignorance. 2. Highlighting the contributions of Muslims and Islam to New Zealand. The contributions Muslims have made to the spiritual, cultural and economic development of New Zealand are being highlighted more than in the past in order to dispel the notion some may have of Muslims and immigrants as leeches who only take and contribute nothing in return. 3. Promoting interfaith and cultural dialogues. These dialogues happen in various forms between Muslims and other faith and cultural groups throughout the year, but extra emphasis is placed during Islam Awareness Week. 4. Promoting better integration of Muslims into the wider New Zealand society. Islam Awareness Week activities also teach New Zealand Muslims to better understand and respect the many cultures and values that make New Zealand what it is, a multicultural, multi-religious society. And 5, supporting New Zealand government and other non-governmental organisation initiatives. New Zealand Muslims have not suffered any harassment in the hands of their government, as did Muslims in other countries around the world post 9/11. In addition, a number of initiatives taken since 9/11 by the New Zealand government, have had a positive impact on Muslim New Zealanders. For these and many other reasons, New Zealand Muslims, under the auspices of their umbrella organisation FIANZ, decided in 2004 to make Islam Awareness Week a yearly national event to promote understanding and build bridges with the wider New Zealand society. The guests at the launching ceremony were welcomed by the President of the International Muslim Association of New Zealand, Fauzan Hafiz. In his speech, Brother Fauzan used verses of the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, to explain the Islamic position regarding family and individual responsibility in the society. He said, Islam teaches us that society starts with individuals and families, and to strive towards a just and peaceful society begins with striving to be just and peaceful on the individual level.
Islam teaches us that society starts with individuals and families. To strive towards a just and peaceful society begins with striving to be just and peaceful on the individual level. This is very clear in the Islamic teachings. The standards set by Islam for its followers is very high. And I have to concede that unfortunately it is not reflected in our lives when we look around us. It teaches us that you should not just be good to those who are good to you, but good to those as well who are not so good to you.
Brother Fauzan informed or reminded the guests the emphasis Islam placed on education and good upbringing, starting from giving a good name to a child to moulding the child in the way of the fitara, translated as nature, al-Islam. He underscored his point by quoting this saying of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The best among you is one who is best for his family, and I am the best among you in this regard.
الناس للناس الناس للناس ما دام الوفا بينهم والعسر واليسر أوقات وساعات وأكرم الناس من بين الورى رجل.
Brother Samir Al-Matari, FIANZ council member, beautifully recited in Arabic two poetries entitled Helping Humanity and My Mother, and rendering their meaning in English.
People are for each other as long as there is loyalty and honesty. Their lives alternate between ease and hardship. The noblest of people is one who stretched his hand to others with help.
At the launching ceremony, the 2008 Islam Awareness Week Harmony Awards were presented to Anne Dysett, Bruce Kelly, David Kinzet and Dr. G.P. Spray by the Governor-General. The Supreme Award went to Anne Dysett of the Ministry of Social Development for her work with the Muslim community. The launching ceremony ended with a scrumptious lunch at the Wellington Islamic Centre. By all measures, the launch event was a great success, as were the activities held throughout New Zealand during the week that followed the launch.